Clears his throat. Ready to do it. Just got up from a nap with Mika. Let's have some water. I want to hit record right away. Get out the shower. All right. Well, let's pull this. I need singing classes. Hold on 1 second. We put this tea in this water. Just need to put this tea, minty chlorella. That mint. I don't know what it's good for. I wish I was one of those people who could just say, oh, it's good for this function and that function, and it will make you a millionaire. You'll find a million gold coins right when you drink mint. That's what happens. I should actually have a ginger shot. My voice will improve. It takes about a few minutes to get the rust off. Anyways, well, welcome. Welcome to your reading. We have here a 1990 baby like me, born 2 days. Oh yeah, this is gonna be easy. This is me if I was born 2 days later and in Texas. Interesting. Well, we're gonna have the same shit. You have Venus square Pluto. Yep. This is gonna be a. Does that button even work? Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, it doesn't even work. Wait. Test, 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 test. Okay, now, so it doesn't show me I'm muted, but I am. Okay, so good one to start with today. 0 degree Aries sun. So March 20th is the astrological new year, as you know, as you likely know. The 0 Aries point is actually some astrologers use that in their as like a point in their charts, their chart readings. If you look up the 0 Aries point, you'll see like it has to do with new beginnings and stuff like that. I don't really use it, but different types of astrology have like the 0 Aries point, the 0 Libra point, which is kind of like the start in the middle slash end, middle slash or beginning slash end, right? Because the zodiac just ended 29.59 Pisces, and you are 0.06. So you're at the very, very start of Aries season. A cusper. Not everyone believes in that. I logically I don't believe in it, but practically I've seen how it makes sense for like I've observed it and I can only go with my observations. Um especially with like, the Pisces and Aries, I feel like that zone is very abundant because, it creates this kind of fiery Pisces, or fiery Aries, or I guess in your case it'd be watery Aries with like a side of kind of very compassionate, more soft, but then there's still this like rapid fire, like, new beginnings type energy. And you are born with a 23-degree Virgo rising with Mercury a degree, nearly 2 degrees away from your sun. Okay. You got that and that and that and that. So interesting. So you're a Cap moon, but luckily your Capricorn moon, you're born right when Neptune was conjunct your moon. So that's really good. Cap moon is pretty difficult, really. I just mute myself again. I don't think I pressed it, but I'm not risking shit. Test, test, test. Okay. Um, so that's probably why you're even interested in astrology. I mean, the astrological explanation, because I would say like it's usually Capricorn Sun, but of all the Capricorn people I get, it's not a sign that like loves astrology, but this generation of Capricorns, Sun and Moon, whatever, right? Born in the years around when we are born, have this the potential for Uranus or Neptune to be on conjunct the sun or conjunct the moon. It's usually always Neptune with me. Um, Neptune is a sign of compassion. It's a sign of Pisces. Um, so when you have a Capricorn moon already on an emotional level, there's some difficulties. I see it's opposite Chiron too, and yeah. So what can happen, and it's kind of conjunct this. I mean, it's conjunct Saturn. Yeah, it's conjunct Saturn and conjunct Uranus. It's just really conjunct Neptune. So, um, lots of energies here. The Saturn one, well, the one that the main one is Neptune, obviously. So that is, well, let's start okay with Capricorn, right? Capricorn moons, I wrote articles about this in the past. More for men, I find it very difficult placement because, but women, I feel like they're able to speak about their emotions. It's pushed early on in life for them to be more vulnerable, and because of that, I think that um the odds of them having gone past a lot of the issues that are prominent with Capricorn moons are higher. So what are those issues? Well, Capricorn as a sign is ruled by Saturn, and the emotions, they like to flow, right? They like to flow, they like to be, that's why the moon is in dignity in Cancer, right? Emotions are energy that's like water. Um, Capricorn, Saturn, it's rock. That's the archetype of Saturn. It's rock, different. planets have different archetypes in horary astrology, which is like interpreting like an event or something like that, right? Or asking a question. I don't do this, but some astrologers do. Saturn is linked to rocks. um, I'm pretty sure Capricorn is like the skeletal system. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a medical astrologer, but we understand that it's about foundations. And as great as Capricorn is at many things, Cap moons a lot of times struggle with emotions. And I always say that they're here karmically. They usually have to grow up pretty fast. Kind of become like an adult version of themselves pretty quickly early on in life. And then also I always call it, they have to they're here to liquefy crystallized emotional patterns from past lives. So if you think about that sentence, a lot of cat moons kind of get stuck in this. They can be very self-critical. Now remember, I'm telling you this without adding the very important conjunctions, which completely re-identify it. Because this might not make so much sense to you so far, right? But overall, that's kind of the struggle for Cat Moon is vulnerability. They can be their own worst enemy. They can be really hard on themselves. They can find it hard to show weakness, like sometimes because like they're a lot of times they're it's very masculine, so a lot of times they're very innately responsible people, success driven. um so for Cat Moon, who's an empath, like with the Neptune on the moon, right? That makes you an empath, and that makes you someone who's able to take in cosmic information very easily and understand principles of the universe, the divine. It's like a natural gift in that way. But with Esme, it just came to the mic. Esme, okay, just wait a little bit. Esme, okay, fine, Esme. She really wants to talk. Wow. Okay, in a second, Esme. So Esme, you lose where I was. Yeah, so it's a two-sided sword, right? And you have to be really careful. So the way it can work together well is that the Capricorn can be very good with boundaries. Cat moons tend to be good with boundaries, right? Because Saturn literally represents boundaries. But Neptune is the force that relinquishes all boundaries. And so a lot of Neptune moon, Pisces moon, Neptune on the moon people have issues with the energetic boundaries, with setting strong energetic boundaries to other people. Am I worried about that for you? No. I mean, I've met some Aries Capricorns, and I always consider those two signs to be like a powerhouse together. Like I met some women who have that, who are very like, who would be considered very, very strong, almost like not masculine in the sense of like gender, but like woman who can kind of not to be fucked with, who can really, really um be successful in this kind of patriarchal, if you want to call it that, world. Um but yeah, so with the Neptune, it gives you a lot of empathy. Um but then the boundary, just the lack of like just that need to kind of like spend time alone. Already cat moons sometimes can be loners, feel like loners. Um, Especially if they're going through tough times, they don't want other people to suffer. So they will like you always know, like you can be in a house with a cat moon who's depressed and you'll feel that fucking depression, like no matter even if it's a mansion, you'll feel that heavy ass energy. But cat moons who early on are able to, because I know some female cat moons who are totally chill. So I've actually seen more female cat moons that do not suffer from this issue, but then the males, it's like nearly every single one. Um, but what can happen is this like lack of flow in life, right? This kind of second guessing of self, this criticizing self, which projects to criticizing others, and yeah, that's kind of what happens. So yeah, Neptune there, I think really is you have to really protect your own energy. But to have them work together, I think being in a helping profession would be very, very, or doing something, because cat moons, they have this like this realness to them where it's like, and this is what's interesting about Neptune and Capricorn, just why I'm fascinated when I see Neptune and Capricorn, Pisces and Capricorn together. Um, is that one second, well, it's that you can have the creation, well, okay. What I was saying is that Capricorns don't typically, like, they can't really lie to themselves. Like Pisces people, we like can be in self delusion and just kind of live lives that, I don't know, like kind of escapist type lives. Um, but Capricorn can't do that. Capricorn moon, it's like it's almost sometimes they're workaholics because they feel like they have to be moving and doing something productive in order to really feel valuable. I have a Capricorn moon friend who she's definitely a workaholic and she knows she's working her ass off, but there's a mission there. The mission is she has a kid and like she's had, she also likes to like take time off and travel, but she's told me before, like even though my work is really hard, she works at like upscale bar, like upscale, like kind of rooftop, like very classy kind of. She like manages like a bar in London. It's like kind of like a really, really posh type spot. Um, she's told me like if she's not working, she just doesn't feel like it just doesn't feel good, like something feels off. And that's like, yeah, and like my brother, he's a Capricorn moon, obviously a male, so that's the whole thing about the emotions, right? But you know, for him, it's like he's been studying to be, it's just that stuck energy, the stuck emotions, and just like getting a Capricorn moon to feel safe enough to really be vulnerable and not be like in this, and this is more of the masculine part, I guess, like in this kind of competition to like always appear tough to others. That's like what I would say is a weakness of a lot of Capricorn moons. And he actually also has Neptune on his moon too, and Uranus. So that's interesting. Um, but like what I've noticed about those, and I've had other people who have that too, is that they're energies that need to be unlocked, has been known. So it's like the Neptune is there, right? that gate to the divine. It's there for you, but you have to get past your own mind and past your own self-limiting beliefs in order to access it. But people with Cap Neptune moons are very naturally compassionate. They don't want to just dream and think about ways that they can improve the world, because of course being an Aries sun, that's the leader, that's the go-getter, the actor, that's the person that does shit, like if you were a Pisces, of course, I'm a Pisces, March 18th, 1990, but I have a lot of fire in my chart, but you know like you might not feel that like fiery sense, like I gotta go, like there's things I need to do, and you have a midheaven in Gemini too, because I want to talk about career. So that really allows you a lot of flexibility in terms of what you want to do. um it makes a lot of Gemini and midheavens end up changing careers at some point in their life. Fascinating, huh? Because Gemini is a mutable air sign. So they either change careers or they double task. So like they might have like their passion, let's say like they're like really good at astrology, but like they're trained their whole life to be a lawyer, or something in business or whatever, who cares, finance. So they're working, or let's just say digital design. So they're working in this way, right? They're working on this mission, and then on the side they have this backup kind of yeah, this backup mood. And over time, what can happen is that they can take that passion, and it can become the or sorry, um sorry, daydreaming like a Pisces. No, well, what can happen is that they can take the thing that's their passion, that might not be the moneymaker, because cat moons are very hardworking, and then over time it becomes the moneymaker, and then they switch. So, or another thing I see a lot is that they have different phases in their life, um where, let's say, maybe for one phase they're meant to be working this kind of more office or whatever type job, maybe like when they're younger, because Capricorn, it can be a little bit conditioned, but Neptune, it's always going to be like super good heart and all that stuff. um and you have that Aquarius energy too, so we can't forget that you're going to be very, very much rooted in humanitarianism, and you'll be a very rebellious, outside the box person. So it's interesting how this combines, because we're seeing two parts develop here. We're seeing the part one that's a more the Virgo rising, which can be a bit perfectionist, critical, the Cat moon, which can be a little bit same thing, similar. um but then the Aries and the Aquarius, um that is like this very like, I'm doing me, I'm going my own direction, all about freedom, all about um doing things your own way. And yeah, it's just fascinating to have those two. We'll get more into those parts, because that's one of the beauties of kind of how I do astrology, is that I try to break down these two parts, so then we're able to work with them better, identify them as they come up. And of course, you may have done like a ton of work already to understand
these things about yourself, but still, like, even to this day, you know, like the two parts of it, I try to break it down into two. Of course, there's more, but like for me personally, it's usually like, one that's more conservative, one that's more about action, and yeah, it's kind of like that a lot of times. But I think that with yeah, the Aquarius energy you have is very like Aquarius Mars people do not give a fuck about appearing different, appearing weird. Um, whether that's in relationships with the Aquarius Venus, they need space, they need to remain individuals. And with your North Node also there, you're on this mission to be very, very like it's going away from the me and going towards the we, right? So it's leaving behind past life battles. Let's see. And you have, the Pluto square the nodes like I do, so you have the past life trauma like me. Yay, fun, fun, fun. So 12th house also, you could have been someone who is a witch or had like a tragic ending where you were really not able to fully be yourself in that past incarnation. And it's by going deep into your own inner child when you can just let go and just be you. That's where you find the greatest healing for this trauma is or like any kind of past life regression if you're able to do that, like any kind of anything that gets you in touch with past life, because people with node square Pluto, I wrote about this in my book Pisces Live Nine Lives, which you might find very interesting because we're born so close, but it's not a book about my life besides two chapters. But yeah, anyways, I find a lot of times that people who are born in close proximity to me, I mean, they're going through different transits, similar transits at the same time, minus the moon, of course. So a lot of times there's a lot of things that are similar. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, there's really this kind of importance towards being different, towards being your own person. Um, the sun, the moon are in squared signs, so they're not squaring each other, but in squared signs, a lot of times that will make it so mom and dad had like a very different message that that it would make it so there would be a very different message that you receive from mom and from dad a lot of times, right? Maybe they divorced, I don't know. But yeah, it kind of creates like these two parts of us. So more on the moon. The moon in a lot of charts it represents the mother. I think it's more just like the early nurturing experience, the subjective early nurturing experience. And with Neptune conjunct it in Uranus, Saturn. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, and it's the 14. Yeah, and the node is quincunx it. And quincunx Neptune exact. So yeah, I think like maybe there's some interesting karma with your current mother. But I definitely feel like you probably like had like a lot of like on some level in past lives you were not able to practice magic. You were not able to like there's some feeling of like a loss of meaning that came. And I think a lot of that comes from not being able to and you can still harbor those fears, right? If like you were living in a time where
you weren't able to properly individuate. Um, if you kind of had to be a certain way, there wasn't really a choice. It's not easy. But yeah, so overall, I think that the Moon Neptune people in Capricorn, they can have that dual strength of like a lot of times it's after 30 also. So after Saturn return, things get easier. And you don't have very many hard aspects either, by the way. But yeah, there could definitely be some like energy with all the Aquarius there of feeling quite misunderstood by your family. Um Chiron in Cancer, of course. But then I see so many indicators of a gifted healer in your chart. You have part of fortune on Chiron. You have Sirius on your midheaven, which means that you could have like a career as someone that takes care of people and nurture. And you have Neptune on your moon, so you have this endless divine compassion, this ability to really tap into the zeitgeist, tap into people, tap into energy, understand people's suffering, and that also comes to your moon opposite Chiron, because what it takes to heal other people, might be at odds with what it takes to heal yourself, and you might need to be someone who really has a strong, like if you are a healer, if that is something that you do become, we all if we're someone who's meant to help other people, a lot of times we have to go through experiences that vary in length. Sometimes they start at 40, some 50, 30, it's always different. But I think if that were the case, one of the big challenges would be how do I still keep myself and not lose myself and not allow someone else's pain to become my pain. And this will be something that would show up in life as well. And it could also be around family and potentially needing to create boundaries with them if there's someone in the family that kind of abuses that, which I'm not saying there is because I don't see the hard aspects. But a lot of times, with the cat moon, there is often like some, at least with the least dominant parent, which is not always the mother, um like the more feminine, classically feminine parent, a lot of times there is kind of a difficulty with expression of emotions, and sometimes it's very unconscious and hard to pin down. Doesn't mean there's a bad relationship. It just might mean that there's difficulty with seeing eye to eye, different emotional natures, or maybe something in the family culture that makes it difficult. But yeah, so it's in the fifth house. So and the sun's the eighth. So and of course it would be seventh in Placidus and fourth, seventh, fifth, eighth. So that energy is like same as me actually. So it's like a real need to get beneath the surface in life and to go through these real massive death, rebirth, transformation periods. Just hit mute. Test, 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 test. No, I didn't. Test, 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 test. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So basically, like, just feeling like looking at your life and feeling. Let me grab it, Chris. Yeah, being able to kind of look at your life and feel like, oh my God, that person I was at this age is completely like it feels like it was an actor or it feels like it was an actress playing me. That's how different I am. And fuck, I have to turn music on in the background because my computer fan is fucked up and I'm still working. I'm taking it in Monday, but fortunately it makes a noise that makes it really hard for me to um concentrate. Hold on. I'll just put this random shit on. Okay. I feel like you shouldn't be hearing anything. Okay, anyways. So yeah, so basically, yeah, so that's the eighth house sun energy. It's like how do I let go? How do I allow myself to surrender and to completely just like, be transformed? And a lot of times it takes boundaries with people and places and things, ways of being that are no longer serving us. And we're kind of forced to like let them go, even if it feels really uncomfortable. And if you're looking at from class, this is a seventh house sun, then it's more about just the importance of relationships and the importance of whether if you're are a healer, like clients, um any kind of real close partnership, BFF relationships, like friends that are so close that you're basically dating. Yeah, very relational. Regardless, eighth house also is quite relational. But the thing there is that with the Aquarius energy, um, too more distracting. Yeah, with the Aquarius energy, um, I think that yeah, the difficulty is that Aquarius needs freedom. So Aquarius, Venus, and love, like me, for example, like, and you probably resonate with this, is very much like I need my own space. I can get bored of people very easily. To have a relationship work, we can't be sleeping in the same room. We can't be like doing everything together. You have to have your life. I have to have my life. And that's because Aquarius, Mars, and Venus, their biggest fear, and this is what makes relationships kind of hard for us, and why some people with a lot of these placements might go for polyamory, um, or like some kind of alternative form of relationships, is that we don't really resonate. And this is the thing, and this is going back to the different parts. Capricorn is very traditional, right? Um, but Aquarius, it doesn't usually resonate that part with like the traditional views of marriage and love and how relationships are supposed to be. And a lot of times there can be that grass is green on the other side type energy. If you're in a relationship, you're like, you can be thinking like, oh well, what about this person? Or like, and I'm not saying I do this, I'm just saying like, um, it's an Aquarius thing to be able to be very, very different, because you don't want to lose. Like, you can feel relationships that are can feel like imprisonment. That's why there's that need for freedom. Um, that need for just being able to keep your individuality, right? Because as an Aquarius North Node, like I keep saying, your mission in this lifetime is to, one, overcome your past life trauma. So that comes to the inner work that you're doing, the letting go, the surrendering, the hiring, the raising of your awareness, the realizing, okay, this person's not good for me. I need to make this boundary. That's one thing. This place isn't good for me. Aligning yourself with figuring out who you are and then aligning your life, making the big moves, right? Because you have those Mercury squares too. So you got to be careful with them too. With the Superwoman syndrome, um, where taking too many risks, Aries is already impulsive, square Jupiter is even more impulsive. And then Mercury also, it's like where one might promise too much, where one might say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do this, oh I'm going to do that," and then before they know it, they promised way too many things to way too many people, and they haven't really thought. So it's like really important to like be grounded and kind of lean into that high Capricorn moon, which is like very grounded, very mature, very responsible emotionally, and taking your time with things and not just jumping into things. Because sometimes the Sun square Jupiter person, it's like the energy of someone who comes in the casino and thinks that they're automatically going to win. Like, oh, I'm gonna win. Let me bet $1 million on this, and then they lose. Like, oh fuck. But it creates great leaders. And Aries is the sign of it's a leader, right? So definitely very capable, but gotta watch out for overexpansion, or overexpansiveness. But you're definitely someone who thinks big, for sure. Um, and yeah, and you think big and you think outside the box, right? Aquarius, Mars, like they what motivates most people is very different than what motivates Aquarius Mars, especially because your North Node's there with Venus. So you'll have very, I think relationships are a big part of your life. I think like very karmic relationships. But also I think it's your relationship to humanity and your relationship to like your like moving away from past life tendencies to kind of like not take your skills, Leo, like your talents, Leo, South Node, 12th house, hidden. So you have hidden talents that because of trauma, Pluto square, you weren't able to show. Quincunx Neptune, that made you kind of lose meaning and lose hope. Quincunx Moon, that had a big impact on your emotions in past lives, that that energy stored in your current emotions. So you need to kind of unstuck yourself, and that requires creating energetic space in your life, which is done by the mantra, it's okay to be a bitch. It's okay to be selfish. Fifth house moon, you know, mixed with fourth house, it's like, same shit as me. It's like, you want to feel grounded. You want to be in a position where you can create. Like your life does feel like there's some kind of creative destiny. And then with Uranus and Neptune and all of Saturn there is definitely going to be like this after 30 years old, like a lot of is going to open up around creativity, which can mean whatever it wants. It doesn't mean just painting something. It means like creating the life for yourself, being in your inner child. Um, I would imagine your hobbies are probably pretty unusual, but this is the cool thing about fifth house Saturn is that a lot of times they can take their because they might work really hard at what is fun for them, and then they might be able to take that and make it their job, make it their thing that pays them. A lot of times I see that. Like I did it. I had fifth house Saturn. Um, so it's like being able to like mix fun and work together, which is dope if you think about it. I think fifth house Saturn gets a bad rep because it can be kind of the party pooper. The person who has a lot of trouble letting go. Like I always say for me, like I'm very good like naturally musically, or at least I was. I'm sure it's rusty now, but you know, just I could have been a musician easily if I would have been in the right frame of mind early on. Just like natural ability, kind of like astrology, a little bit different. I'd say natural ability for me, not that this dreams about me. Like I'd say if you ask me 10 years ago, I had the choice of, I have the mindset I have now, music or astrology. I choose music because I know I would be just amazing. It'd be so fun. I love both, but yeah, I'm meant to be an astrologer. And that kind of shows your Aquarius North nodes that sometimes there is Leo, like so in that scenario I just gave you, Leo represented the music for me, right? But
the energy made it so I took the path that's more, because for you it might be something else that feels more natural, right? That's more Leo. But the Aquarius is more about, because like it's like what can influence the people more? What can help, move people towards higher awareness, metaphysical value. So God will present those things, and it can be looked at, like, for example, if you have like your own situation in your life where you have to sacrifice something um like that, you can either look at it like fuck, like god damn, I missed out, or like, yeah, I missed out, but I understand why. I understand that it was for the greater good, and I understand that past lives, I probably, as a South Node Leo, already had a lot of prominent superstar kind of past lives where I was the person, where I was the one, you know? So how does it work with a Virgo rising? Well, that really complements the Capricorn side, but and it lends credence to that part of you that can really be consistent and grounded. Um Now the proper utilization of having Virgo and Capricorn is understanding your capability, your organizational abilities, your ability to be consistent over the long term, which a lot of people like myself struggle with no Earth. The wrong way when you have Earth like that is to allow that kind of like, because it's very observant, so it makes you very physically observant and very realistic. But sometimes realism can be too much. Realism can be bad. You heard it first. Um, I mean, in some situations it's great. You need it, right? I mean, example A, the amount of clients I see who have relationship issues because they have like something that I see in their chart where I'm like, yo, like love is not some Disneyland fucking fairy tale, It's like, it's not easy. You can't find God in a partner. Hmm. And they'll just like live their life like it's some fucking rom-com. And I think that the really good thing about that is that they kind of can learn the sobering lessons early on. And but at the same time, sometimes they can be so critical of themselves, especially if the mother or father was critical of you. Um, that can be projected outwards. But Virgo rising, what I love about Virgo rising is that they have a certain sense of like consistency, and like you can count on them. But sometimes they act like their shit don't stank, and they'll be like, it's a kind of a funny thing about Virgo rising sometimes, not always, but sometimes like they'll notice every little thing that's like dirty or off about something, but then like they'll go over to their friend's apartment and they'll be like, oh, like this is dirty, but then you go in their room and it's just like completely messy. So it's like sometimes they're like very like, not always, but sometimes they'll call people out for their shit, but not for their own. But yeah, it makes you, very, very good with words and very good with just understanding in general. And but the fact that's combust with your sun Mercury, the ruling planet, and Aries, yeah, you're definitely a free thinker. You're probably someone that takes on information quite quickly. Um, you want to go deep with what you learn. In partnerships, you want to really, speak a lot, like have like intellectual connections. But at the same time, there is that need to not be perfectionist and to not think that you're underneath other people. Sometimes Virgo rising, cat moons, that combination can have that effect. where because of early shame or past life shame, they might be like up here. I'm putting my hand high in reality, and other people are down here. But in their minds, it's flip flop. They think they're down here. They think other people are way more capable than they actually are, and they take for granted their ability to be grounded, their ability to be aware, their ability to move through life with consistency. And you know, Earth is about foundations. So there's a part of you that is very, very good and routine, and you know, being living on Earth. It's about successfully living on Earth. And your ascendant's close to Denebula, which is a star that's about, deeper esoteric knowledge. So it's no surprise that, Virgo is a very spiritual sign. It can be. So it's to me, it's no surprise that it's, around those degrees. But yeah, like I think that the more that you're able to work in areas that open up that compassion, the better. Like I was saying with my brother, he's still in school. He's struggling right now, like on a level of finding himself and finding the confidence. Of course, his chart is not yours, and it's way more difficult than yours. But and he has no fire. You have fire. But like the point is that I know what all I'm trying to say is I know the second he finally finishes graduate school, gets his shit together and starts working with kids or teens or whatever, whoever he works with, I know that that's going to open up that moon, Neptune cat moon. Um, so yeah, if you're in in environments where that's not being opened, where you're not able to access that, then it's like a muscle. It won't really, I mean, yeah, it'll still be there. You'll still have that innate compassion, that innate intuition and all that. You could be very good at predicting things as well, potentially. But sometimes that Virgo Capricorn, it's like so logical that it can convince someone to not look into, to not trust themselves, to think, oh, that's just my imagination. No, try meditating, try dream journaling, try to see if you have psychic abilities. Just try it out, But the first thing is you have to get past the mind. The mind is the first barrier, right? The logic can be your best friend in some situations, but your worst enemy in others. You see? So I imagine that with the Aquarius energy, that your day-to-day life is probably, well, I imagine first of all you love pets. Venus in the sixth love pets. And Mars is there too, so you could even like really cute cats slash dogs, but then also maybe even like something more dangerous like snakes, or I don't know, Mars in the sixth, or like a pit bull or something, like a kind of Martian animal, or a Martian cat. I don't know, a tiger. I don't know, I'm joking. But I'd imagine that in your family, that Aquarian side, it maybe was misunderstood. Maybe the way that you saw the world, it really, really took you a lot of work to kind of maybe there was some times where you felt really shut down and you kind of just gave up. Um, yeah, because Aquarius is the water bear, so it's not here to be like everyone else. It's here to go on its own route, which can be lonely sometimes, but there's deeper meaning. The deeper meaning is to find itself, right? It's to find who it truly is, not via any conditioning. That's why with the Neptune on the moon, that's why it's so important to move away from people, places, things that keep you in a certain conditioning, or people who are very static in their thinking. Because for you as an Aquarius Mars, you see the bigger picture. You see it, the future. You see it's like a very genius placement, Aquarius Mars, and someone who wants to, you know, do good things for the world and who wants to collaborate with like-minded people. And because it's in your sixth house, also that's your daily routine, that's your health, that's everything. Um, it could be in your day-to-day life that you really have this push towards helping people and towards maybe your daily routine is like very different because Gemini midheaven would prefer space and freedom in their career as well. But then Capricorn moon likes some levels of security, some level of stability, right? So I think even having Saturn on your moon, your cat moon already, so it's like um emotional stuff gets easier after 30, opening up gets easier after 30, after Saturn return, like 31-ish. So you're probably really coming into your own. Um, and the Uranus on the moon is interesting because it can make someone very open. It can make clairvoyant people, it can make people who just get these flash downloads and who also are, it adds more Aquarian energy to you of like wanting to be different, of not wanting to just follow the mold and all that. Innately rebellious. So yeah, it's that real balance between rebelliousness and tradition in doing things the correct way, or quote unquote the correct way. So I'm curious how that is with the family because a lot of times Capricorn moons, they want to make their family proud. They want to do something that on some level has some societal merits, I guess, or like, that's not that's seen as you know doing good. But then on another side, if they like something, they're gonna fucking do it, you know? Um 23, 23. Okay. So I think finances could be an interesting area. Because there could have been past lives where maybe, yeah, like the trauma was around. And also another thing I thought of, in Placidus would be 11th house South Node. That can speak to just like this lifetime having like a deep, deep, deep um hold up. Yeah, like creative purpose in this life, It's kind of similar to what I was saying, but how it could speak to how in past lives there was, too much of a push towards being with the other people, being with the consensus, um, not being labeled in a certain way. So yeah, really, really meant. And also 11th house Cancer, it's like about finding family, friends that feel like family in this life. And it could be also like other quote unquote healers or healer types or people who, understand what you've been through and if you are a healer, it could be very beneficial. And then having Jupiter there is very good for popularity and for wealth. Um, it definitely opens a lot of social doors because like the Aquarius energy, it's not just some weirdo energy. Um, especially now and more in times that are more open. Aquarius energy is more a lot, it's not under attack. Well, that's an interesting one to study actually, because one could argue that free speech is under attack and Aquarius is free speech. Aquarius Mars loves free speech. Like there's a passion for that, you know? Venus also. It's just like they're so good. Aquarius, Venus, and Mars people are so good at giving other people space, and they expect that same space back. You know, they're so good at letting other people grow, at letting other people be themselves. You know, they usually have a pretty good sense of humor. They can be quite sarcastic. And yeah, just like it's kind of the mantra of like, you know, if I like you can't a flower can't grow if you're staring at it. You know, you have to give it space to grow. Um and they get that naturally. So they want they know that you know there's trial and error that it took, you know, probably took you to get to where you are. So why would it be different for someone else, right? So yeah, I think like one of the big questions is like how does a Capricorn moon look at childhood, look at past lives, any wounding around, you know, how they felt valuable, and can they find internal value that's not dependent on anything else, just from the essence of them existing. Because sometimes what can happen is that they can just go really, really hard when it comes to excuse me. Um yeah, they can go very, very hard um when it comes to working and kind of proving other people wrong. So it really is kind of getting good at just not giving a fuck about other people's opinions. I think with eighth house, like moving like away from where you're from, if it's not somewhere that's serving you, is very useful because a lot of eighth house people, sun people, they, you know, a lot of times they grow up a lot faster than people that they grew up with. They mature, they go through these intense fucking stages, as I said earlier. And that can be really awkward. You know, like if I look at my life as an eighth house sun, I can break down probably four different periods, not even like the stages of life. You know, obviously, yeah, when you're a teenager or a younger adult, blah, blah. But like you know, I have friends that I grew up with who are still pretty similar, you know? And yeah, there's parts of me that are there's parts of our nature, of course. I'm telling you about your nature, right? But then there's parts of us on a healing level, energetic level that we let go of, right? Like example from my life. I used to drink a lot, I used to party. That used to be a big part of how I had fun. Was I'd go out during the weekends and I'd make a lot of friends and have a lot of fun, drinking and doing all kinds of stuff. And last few years, I've pretty much only do that a few times a year now. And a lot of people I grew up with who are, you know, all over the world, but more in America, you know, they have jobs and stuff, but like weekends they party hard, you know, and I'm just like, I don't know. You know, that's an example, right? That's just an example of like of a way that an eighth houser or like me getting into spirituality, you know, and not being able to connect as deeply with a friend that was maybe our friendship was more about jokes and um kind of keeping things light. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to explain, but you get the point. So yeah, it's really important for cat moons to find a certain lightness in their life and to be able to not take themselves so fucking seriously. And I think having that Aquarius helps, you know. And I think being in Aries really helps, even though they're squared signs. I've always liked that combination. It's probably my favorite square because I feel like Aries is the leader. It's the most fiery sign. It's the one that goes that leads people, that moves forward. But it's eighth house, so you know a lot of your life could be kind of in. I mean, partnerships could play a huge role in your life, but also it could be like the esoteric psychology, like the kind of undercurrents of areas of life So it could be that your talents, your main talents are things that people aren't really seeing. They're kind of under the surface. Hmm. I'm doing this thing right now, just so you know. That's why I don't have the camera on. It's like a meditation I do. A third eye kind of activate. I don't even have a name for it. I just started doing it on my own, but sometimes I have to pause because yeah, I have to like align this crystal with my third eye, and I look in it and I just try to like feel things. So give me a second. So yeah, I think just like a chart like this is a powerhouse. It's just like you are your own worst enemy, or you like the only person that can beat you is yourself. Um, and yeah, using realism is good, but also understanding that like as an Aquarius, Mars, and Venus with Jupiter squaring your sun and moon, there is that anything is possible energy. But then there's maybe it's a perfect blend. Maybe you have the perfect blend of the two. Honestly, could be. But yeah, like what I was saying before is so key. How do I, like, is there something external that I am requiring of myself to feel totally useful and valid? Um, and yeah, just like the creative purpose in your life is massive. I mean, regardless of how you look at this chart, you see creativity, you see inner child, you see authentic self-expression, which is the idea of going within yourself and finding that creativity that isn't based on societal norms. It's not based on what this person thinks is cool. It's not based on what anything, besides you. It's art and creating a life where you're the artist of your own life. Yeah. I definitely could see a mother wound, or at least one of the one whoever the least involved parent was. I could see a wound there. Um, but also I could see that wound being the like sometimes we have parents that we don't even understand until way later that they steered us in a direction that was so opposite to them. But if we think about it, if we had parents that I'm not talking about my parents, I'm just saying in general, like if we have parents that were just like perfect matches for us, like think of it like your best soul friend. Imagine her or him incarnated as your parent. That would be, I mean, like there's a lot of comfort there, right? And maybe it would be good, but at the same time, sometimes it's that urge of like I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be like my dad. That gives you this firepower. A lot of times souls that truly love each other incarnate as people who aren't going to be cool with each other in this lifetime, a lot of time in family. But you can feel the love energy on a soul energetic level if you really think about the person, deep concentration and feeling into the emotions. You can feel the love of the purity without words, but then they have all this human bullshit that layers, and it's difficult when you're an empath to have that. And even it's difficult when you're an empath to do a lot of things because there's so much suffering in the world, which is why that is, the requirement for you is to go deep into higher learning and this, you know, real esoteric path that's your own esoteric path, spiritual path. Um, so you can understand death, so you can understand why we're here, or have an idea, understand God, or try to understand God, you know, purpose. And that goes back to the boundaries, because there's people, there's situations, environments that you can be in where you will take on their energy and you'll think that you'll think it's your own. And you can't help everyone. Some people can't be helped. And yeah. But also with the Mercury and the Sun, I was gonna say earlier, there can be a lot. You have to watch out for dogma and kind of like a lack of objectivity, being like overly subjective. It's very important to listen to other people's experience and to not just like say, because Mercury can be very quick to the point and sometimes too quick to conclusions. So it's important to stay open minded and to kind of like give yourself time to like form opinions. Because like, why do we have to have so many fucking opinions as humans? You know, like why do I have to have an opinion on this person? Why do I have to have an opinion on this person? Like for me, like let's say like I'm big into YouTube. Like I'm not a YouTuber, but like I said, I do have a YouTube, but I'm not. I'm very like I love. Well, not. I mean, YouTube. I love just like that kind of media. Video. There's different apps too that are coming out, but I like videos like like this new kind of form of media. I really love it, and the idea of like the streamer, like the internet personality. I think it's a fucking dope thing about the world right now because like almost like if you think about streaming, it's kind of like a like when the internet first started, they try to get all complicated, you know, and now it's just like there's this guy Fusi who streams 24/7. He's been doing it for like over 2 months and he's crazy. Um, but like the idea that I can just like click on his stream if I want to, I don't watch it all the time, but I could click on his stream right now and I could see him sleeping or, doing some crazy stuff, like just living his life. I think that there's a certain transparency. And I think people with these, like even me, like someone who makes content, like humans are so complex. Like, how could someone form an opinion of me? You know, like even people close to me don't truly. I mean, yeah, like some people know me, but like, you know what I mean? It's just like we all have so many different sides. And maybe I'm kind of an exception because I'm so transparent with my content and I'm very honest. But like with a lot of people in the world, it's like I hate this person, I love this person. No, there's no like stop being so black and white. And that's Aquarius is good at analyzing that. But like with the combust sun moon, you have to watch out for that. Okay. Uh about love, Venus square Pluto. God, do I know about this? First of all, your Venus is exactly on your North Node. So you're really here to learn self-love through your service to humanity. And you're here to practice understanding other people and seeing everything as a part of the whole. Every little thing is a part of the whole. On a romantic level, that means that you have very faded relationships. Um, that's not to say that they're all going to be, every relationship will be amazing, but because like I think with the sixth house Venus, there will be a lot of relationships that are very karmic, that are very, I mean, they're all very karmic. Um, like let's say like okay, like let's say you meet someone and you have like a 2 month relationship. Maybe that person you were married to in a past life, and there was an uneven balance in your karma. So something had to happen, even if it was short in this life, for you to balance out that karma. You see what I'm saying? It's like it's like trying to kind of like and then maybe like one person screwed the other person over, so in this life, that person needs to make things right, or maybe the other person, I don't know. It's odd how it works, but also being a sixth house, people sometimes they meet people at their workplace. Mars sixth house can make someone a very good worker also, but it's an Aquarius, so it's like, they want to have freedom and they want to have originality in their work. Even if they're working for someone else, they want to still be able to feel like they have freedom and feel like they have creative control. So yeah, more with the love stuff. So obviously the Aquarius side, we get it. Venus and Aquarius, with the North Node and Mars, like, you are someone who is here to really, really make your own rules and to not lose yourself in relationships. Um, but then at the same time, Juno and Scorpio, you want someone who can have like this level of solidity and loyalty to them, and who can get down to deep levels with you and make you feel very safe on an emotional, spiritual level, kind of soulmate type energy, which I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if everyone has a twin flame or a soulmate. I don't really like those words, but like a chart like yours is like Venus on the North Node, definitely a lot of purpose and meaning and fate in your love life. So the important relationships will be very faded in the sky when they start, when they end, etc. Of course, there's different timelines in terms of like when they end and when they start. Um, I believe that our life has, there's a interplay of fate and free will, and that like there's some things that are just set in stone, but there's other things, for example, like let's say you're with person A, things are good. And there's timeline A where you stay with person A, and timeline B where, you break up with them, and then maybe you meet person B, or maybe um, you know, person B is more related to a mission, or there's so many things, right? But overall, freedom, being your own person, keeping your individuality, not being codependent, but also still being able to go to those deep places and have that deep companionship when needed. That's step one. Step two is the most difficult part, and the part that is the most challenging for me was it got a lot easier after my Saturn return, or when I kind of matured. And actually, it got easier when I found purpose in my life. And other people I've talked to feel similar. Um, Venus square Pluto, one of the harder aspects in astrology. Why is it hard? Well, it can make someone, especially if there's abandonment issues, whether it's in this life or past lives, um, meet their darkness, and they get a really good idea of where they need growth via relationships. That's like their ultimate guide, right? Of where the growth is needed. I'm paranoid. Growth, growth, growth. Okay. Growth, growth, growth. Okay, we're good. Um, so yeah, yeah, so yeah, relationships early on can be really tough. There can be like this like meeting someone and just really, really, because even though like Venus and Aquarius does like to have space, they're more cool, they're more aloof in relationships. Like the the cat moon, and with Neptune, it definitely does want something that's solid foundations, but also it has to be careful for for trusting the wrong types of people, for being gullible. and to be really, really to use that logic when it comes to relationships. Um, but also has to watch out for being overly critical and seeking the perfect partner. Doesn't exist. Um, so yeah, Venus square Pluto. So yeah, you see Pluto's your darkness. So your relationships, even though it's not pretty, they force you to transform, and they can be like the events in life that push you to those real big changes, those real evolutions. But sometimes with people with Venus square Pluto can like freak partners out or people out they like because they come on too strong, too early. Um, it's just like they love so intensely and deeply that not everyone can kind of put up with it or can handle it, you know? But then once they start to really value themselves, so it's really about self-love. Because if someone doesn't love themselves, then they think, okay, well, this person's gonna come along and they're gonna be my savior. And it is very romantic, the energy, right? And idealistic. So it's about adding logic in there and realizing that your value is not determined by anyone besides you, and you give yourself your value ultimately. Like I decide how valuable I am. And so Venus square Pluto really pushes that test. Um, and yeah, Venus is self-love. So it's about loving the weirdness of you, right? So if you're someone who struggles to kind of like be that rebellious, weird, like self, right? That Aquarian self, that's going to be different, stand out, and goes for like kind of more traditional relationships with people that don't match your vibe on an authentic level, you're going to struggle, you know? Um, so it's only when you really get down to this is who I am. I know how to completely 1000% be myself. Then that completely gets reflected in the relationship. And then Venus square Pluto can make someone who's very loyal and who has life-changing relationships and relationships that are powerful and tied together strongly by karma and by love and by a determination to move past tough times. But yeah, they can really bring up a lot of pain because remember this is connected to your nodes, right? Because Venus is on your north node. So that just shows how, plain and simple, whatever you might have seen or see through relationships that comes up that relates to potential karmic self-hate or karmic trauma, which self-hate can be a result of trauma. That's the fucking clue. So like that goes back to the thing about perspective. It's where relationships like because I always used to look at these like, oh fuck this shit. But then my current framework, and obviously I'm in a relationship, so I can't really test this, but you know, the current framework is like, um, you can look at relationships as a teacher. Oh, it didn't work out. What was my involvement in it? Instead of like, oh, it didn't work out, I suck, I'm the victim, blah blah blah. Oh, it didn't work out. What's my role? Like what does this show me about me that I didn't have access to because it doesn't, you don't just see your trauma in your everyday life. A lot of it's very hidden and comes out through, in this case, unconscious reactions in love. But when one has a very high set of values and principles for themselves and a high sense of self-value and self-love, then they won't put up with bullshit. And this is the thing about being a square Pluto that's very interesting, is that until they get to that evolutionary point, they might find solace in the arms of very, very dark partners, partners who are Plutonian, could be criminals, could be dangerous people, could be very bad people, very dark, mysterious people, right? Um, and that's just a reflection of the unhealed parts of themselves. So yeah, I was saying earlier about money. Well, yeah, so there could have been past lives where the trauma was also related to not having money and to be, being on survival mode. And when you're there, you can't strengthen yourself spiritually, You can't really find self-love. There's like there could have been like a degradation, degrading, degrading, degradation, degradation of the soul. Um and a need to really, really heal energy from, like, imagine if you were homeless in the past life, or like where you just had like a life, it was just very, very poor. It's possible. And people with that, sometimes they become workaholics. Second has Pluto and Placidus. And they're like, there's fears around money that they have to face, and own up to. And they can become millionaires and still fear spending, because Venus in Aquarius, yeah, you'll spend money on things like astrology and maybe crystals and technology and Aquarian stuff, um, I say that I say that as a Venus in Aquarius who just bought a $2,000 TV, but whatever. My other TV I had for 5 years stopped working on one side. What am I supposed to do? But yeah, it's funny, huh? Um, And yeah, style wise, Venus and Aquarius likes to stand out, likes to look different. Even though Virgo risings, it's not like that. Like the Aquarius Venus likes, a lot of times they like electronic music or like more technological music with like kind of like a futuristic sound to it. And yeah, they really want to liberate people. They really want to get people out of their kind of bad ways of thinking. And sometimes it's very hard to see other people struggling. And you're like, I have answers for you, but you can't. People can only take in what they're ready, and people are stubborn. Um, but yeah, you're definitely not someone to fuck with. You have what I have, Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio with Pluto, so the dark side of your personality is definitely like being able to say something that can fuck someone else up on a psychological level. Also, Mars and Aquarius people are very, very tricky. They can kind of fuck with people. Like someone once said, if you have a Mars in Aries, you're being dominated when they dominate you, obviously. Like you're being dominated by Mars and Aries, but a Mars and Aquarius would be very tricky about it, and you might not even know you're being dominated or you're being tricked or something. But yeah. So yeah, overall, like the part of fortune on the Chiron, like I said, that's your flow state is with you when you're having this deep spiritual relationship with yourself. Also, when things are good with your family or with the family that if you have kids or anything like that, that's really good. You're someone who would definitely work, hard on relationships. Descendant in Pisces, so like, relationships could also take on like a spiritual, I already kind of said that, but yeah, like kind of like a deeper spiritual meaning. And yeah, like when you're of service to the world and to humanity, that's your doorway to higher awareness. As I've kind of hinted at before, things open up. Um, and yeah, just like being cool with having unusual hobbies and unusual interests, right? It's not, you know, not everyone is going to be like you. And being also interested in digging deep, and exploring the unexplored territories of life. That like you know, probably a desire to have very deep conversations about topics like astrology and metaphysics. Yeah, a lot of times Virgo risings also are very good at like kind of waiting for their turn. Um, now I have to sit up, get out my meditation position. Whew, that's a channel. Um, but yeah, like Virgo risings, a lot of times they're very good at yeah. Open my eyes back up.
Yeah, Virgo risings are very good at waiting their turn, at seeing kind of like, okay, 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 this is what's going on, you know? They observe, they see everything. They're masters at it. So hold up, I'm gonna send you a message so I have you, so I know where to send. I'm not done with this, by the way. I'm just telling you. Hold on. Sorry, I got a message from my psychic. Kind of sad. Not anything bad. Just that she retired. Someone I've gone to for the past 6, 7 years. Fuck. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Okay, life goes on. I just really want to know my pets' birth times. Or these new cats. I'm not sure if we're keeping them or not. But that's so annoying. Wait, where are you? That's not you. Is that you? Oh yeah, that is you. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was like, I've never have any idea who I'm doing readings for. I don't look at any photos before. Let's see. Okay, nearly. So yeah, I don't think you said anything. Let's see. Yeah, you're private. You can't even see it, but I don't want to see it. Um, I wish you would just tell me. Just come on, just those dates. Okay, whatever. Um, so yeah, let's see Astros and stuff. Astros with stars. Okay, I already talked about the nebula. What's this? The lust. Oh yeah, you know what I have? Lust on Jupiter. I don't even know what that does. Lust is like the sexy asteroid. I don't know. Maybe it just makes someone really like sexual on Jupiter. But like Venus and Aquarius are weird. Mars and Venus and Aquarius are weird when it comes to sex. It's like either we're like super, super sexual or we're like asexual. I don't know. I think I've talked to enough Venus and Mars and Aquarius. Also, they can be like very weird sexually, like not weird, but like just like odd and aloof and not like I don't know. I feel like a lot of them are not like the most like snuggly, wuggly types. Maybe that's just me, but like there can be kind of like I don't know. They love oh yeah, like another thing about Venus, Mars, Aquarius, the love language is so much about like so they love someone who they can teach things to. Like they love someone who is interested in the same stuff as them, who they can I don't want to say coach, but who they can who's like passionate about kind of opening their eyes to the things that they open their eyes to. That's a sexy thing for someone with that placement. So I see here you have protection over you as a healer. So if you did take the healing journey, there's a level of protection. Oh shit. I see Capella on the midheaven. That is a wealth star. So eighth house sun also could be inheritance. So I would not be surprised if either you marry into wealth or money slash wealth, whatever fucking word you want to fucking use, or if you inherit, and that's all karmic stuff, by the way. And then yeah, you really are someone who wants to dive deep into the psyche. You're someone who you really really wants to. I kind of already went into this, but psyche on your Mercury, like you want to you want to get deep, it make very refined communicator, someone who's very self-taught also, um intuitive writer. So like if you ever get like the spontaneous urge to write, just do it because you can be getting downloads. Also very good at poetry, um and clairvoyance, and even like potentially being a medium. I think you're able to be in your inner child quite well. We talked about that throughout the reading. Oh, and you have a Vega moon. I think that's also about wealth. Hold up. And I think like people with Galactic Center on an angle, they're able to really tap into energies from like outside this, you know, just it's like a black hole in the middle of the galaxy, and you're able to like tap into that kind of like cosmic information. Yes, good for business. Influential position can gain great publicity, but in danger of becoming obscure together with many losses. High preferment in business, sports, religion, and all matters dealing with the public. Oh no, wait. I'm stupid. I read the wrong one. That doesn't count. Delete. So good for unusual occupations. Good leadership ability. You have to watch out for enemies too, like known or unknown, that can create problems. Um, People becoming jealous or just whatever. Um, but the only time you can lose is if you become careless, like with the Jupiter energy, or if you lie or do something like that. Seek revenge when someone tries to get off on you. So it's just really important to be, yeah, like very in your integrity. Also says a tendency for occult and mysticism may be given. And then yeah, it's also good for money and resources. So let's see one other thing. So Neptune's also with Vega because it's with your moon. So it says timid, fond of music, occult interest, practical and scientific mind, associated with occult studies, societies, excuse me. Material success, home may be broken up, liable to accidents, natural death and old age. A tendency for occult and mysticism may be given. Some witchy energy. And then lastly, like I'll talk about, Pluto a little bit more. Also like Black Lilith, where it is like you could have issues with neighbors. Hold up, let me remember something. Yeah. And yeah. And also siblings potentially. Like there could be like if you have siblings, like power struggles with siblings. Some interesting karma there. And then it's really important for you in this lifetime to go out in the world and to explore and to learn, to not take anything at surface value, to really go deep into things. Because in past lives, you may have had, um, you know, like just like said, okay, I believe this to be true, I believe that to be true, and that could have had like profound consequences on you. So in this life, it's really important to, you know, to really like go out and find the answers. And then I think, maybe I'm not gonna say this for sure, but maybe it was like after your Saturn return, like which is okay now, the last, few years, I guess, that the real good romance may have come. Yeah, so probably a mother wound. A lot of times the partner attracted is reflecting that pain, as I kind of said before. And sometimes people with the moon opposite Chiron, they attract partners that need lots of caring. Um, or that the partner sparks your wound, which is something I already said. And it's all about facing the pain, and balancing your needs with the needs of others. Um, and that leads to you becoming a great healer. Also, moon sextile Pluto gives a lot of emotional power, and endurance. And you're able to really mold your life into, whatever way you want it to mold it. Yeah, just an amazing imagination. But sometimes there's periods where you have to kind of like let yourself go from the world, because Neptune Moon can have a lot of difficulty coping with reality. Um, and also with the mother, there could be like an unrealistic idea that could have been formed. Um, like some people with this, like they feel like the mother was like amazing when really she wasn't, or maybe she was horrible when maybe she was okay. And it's really important to develop your artistic, spiritual, creative nature, and avoid drugs and negative people. That's how you get your highest potential with Neptune and the moon, like because Neptune is also like escapism like that. And yeah, just leaning into the unconventional, nonconformist, and just like learning to be vulnerable and to speak up and to speak the emotions, so important. Um, for growing self-esteem and maturity is learning to speak the emotions and yeah, let those out. Also, Mars success people tend to work out, love working out, and push their body really hard, and they really benefit from daily exercise. And with that Aquarius energy, you could be someone who's like the head, like kind of like leading a leader in some kind of like cause for some kind of cause. And yeah, like Venus in North Node, I guess like the best way, like I always kind of talked about, but yeah, I already kind of said like your destiny being very linked to like um that need to kind of develop balanced relationships, very hard, and like learning about um like having very harmonious and balanced karmic relationships, but just relationships in general too. So it's really important in your accomplishments. Like for example, like you might have a partner where you have a lot of karma with them. You guys have to get through a bunch of shit, but then your composite chart with that partner, like the energy that's created, maybe that person like helps you reach your goals in some way. It's not always easy. Like for example, like my girlfriend now, like whenever she's around, our composite chart is like really Capricorny, and neither of us have any Earth in our chart. So I work like really hard, like, and it's not even like she's around. She's in her room downstairs. I'm showing. It's not like I'm showing off. It's just like I tend to kind of like be a more mature version of myself, even though there's no direct correlation. So energy is very mysterious, right? Um, but yeah, like it's really important to make sure that the need to kind of keep peace does not hinder any kind of decisive action. Oh shit, I just remembered something. So that's really important piece right there. All right. I'm just checking. Hold on. Yeah. So one thing also about Venus Scorpio that I forgot to say is like that what can happen at a lower version is that the lower side of Scorpio, like manipulation, power struggle, like trying to like, do kind of like very like low vibe Scorpio things to keep the person. Um, there can be like paranoia, all kinds of stuff that can come up. Um, so there's definitely an importance to kind of curb the desires and to yeah, not be manipulative and learn moderation, all that. I didn't talk about Palace. Last thing I'll talk about in uh Taurus, Natal. So that's like really good for like seeing the big picture in life. Um, really wanting to like find advanced knowledge and 0 degrees. So it's like, it's kind of like a trial and error, like energy in that sense. And lots of common sense and wisdom is added when you have Palace and Taurus. So that's good. Um, good at, you usually, you could be really good at working their hands, maybe healing with your hands. And like being hiking, nature, all that stuff is really, really healing for you. All right, that's everything. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good one. Bye bye.